Yeah. Well, which leads to another question, which is, can you be the same person at work as you are at home?
Yeah.
Should you be the same person at work as you are at home? And how does that affect a lot of things? For a lot of people, a job is a uniform that they wear and a role that they play. Um, you see it with children best. Children play doctors and nurses, or teacher and student, or whatever, and they perform these roles. And it's important to understand that that for a lot of people they are always roles. Yeah, two things. The first thing is that a long time ago I once had a girlfriend who was a doctor. She was an eye doctor working in a hospital, not a sort of private center or
One.
optician's
Yeah.
clinic or something like that, right? And the work that first of all, she was always working, right? I mean, just
Yes.
always working all the time, and that that can't be good for the mindset. Always doing that, like doing these 12-hour shifts or 24-hour shifts, or I don't even know, like sleeping in the hospital and working through the night, um, and I remember this clearly. I once asked her, okay, so what problems did you have to deal with tonight? And well, she said, well, there was some people doing, I don't know, some kind of karate or martial arts, and one of them had an accident. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what happened? Well, somebody's two fingers went straight into somebody's eye when they were doing the martial arts. Now, you can understand how that could happen. Martial arts is dangerous and you're fighting, and when you're
Yeah.
fighting, you can get hit in the eye very easily, right? Very easily. And she said, yeah. So I said, like, well, what was it like? And she said, well, I looked at his eye and she said, I could see exactly where the two fingers went in because there was the imprint in the eye of the two fingers. And I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, how can you do that? You know, how can you work like that every day and
Yeah.
see this and know that it might be a serious problem that messes up a person for the rest of their life? That's crazy. And so that's one experience I have with that, which means I have a lot of respect for people in that position. However, the great scientists that have designed our world for us and our system for us understand us better than we understand ourselves. And they have been studying us for a long period of time. Go back to the book War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Read the first chapter. It describes the scientific study of the human being. And the scientists understand that it takes a certain kind of person to do a certain kind of job. Um, let's take some specific examples. Doctor, policeman, teacher, accountant. Accountant. You need a really, really, really specific mindset, almost a completely detached mindset to do these things because you're dealing with life and death in all of those situations. And hopefully more life than death. Um, and the system understands that normal, inverted commas, normal people can't do that. You have to have, this is crazy, you have to have psychopathic elements
Mm.
in your mind. You have to be able to separate your reality from other people's reality. And when reality becomes disconnected, you become disconnected. And so if you look at studies, a lot of people who are attracted to the jobs of doctor, teacher, police person, man, woman, and accountant, a lot of these people are completely psychopathic. They do not belong within normal society. Now, I'm not saying that all these people are psychopathic and all these people are crazy, but the doctor cannot be responsible for everything within the patient. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't, absolutely can't. They got to disconnect themselves. The teacher cannot be responsible for the future of the student, because otherwise you're responsible for the future of hundreds of people, and they're all going out into a world which is cruel and evil and brutal, and many of them will be crushed by the system. You cannot be responsible for that. The policeman or policewoman, well, their job is to enforce the law. Does not keep the peace. That's just a piece of marketing bullshit. You know, their job is to enforce the law, to follow the letter of the law, the word of the law. And, you know, that's the laws of man, in essence, create crime, and that's a brutality of society, and many people end up in prison, and maybe some should, maybe some shouldn't, but it's really difficult to deal with. And you never have to face consequences for what you do. And you might even die in your daily job. Right? Same with a doctor, you know, you might pick up a disease and die, really dangerous. You know, the policeman, woman might get shot or stabbed or, you know, injured in some way. It's pretty terrible. And then the last one is accountant. And, you know, numbers are life and death in the modern world. If the numbers are good, the world is perfect. If the numbers are bad, bad things happen. And at the end of the day, it's just numbers. So you have to disconnect numbers from reality. You just disconnect numbers from people. And that requires some disconnection within the brain of those people who do those jobs. And let me add one more to that, which is rather more obvious: politician. Where can you be responsible for everybody in society and their problems? Well, no, that's impossible. And who wants to be responsible for everybody in society? Like, I might love my neighbor, but I don't want to be responsible for everything they do. I might love my children's friends, but I don't want to be responsible for everything that they do. And this idea that a politician has some responsibility for society is just insane. You can't have responsibility for society, because then you're permanently guilty, because society, it has many dark elements to it, and you have to be responsible for the bad and the good at the same time. And so all of these positions require some level of psychopathic behavior, and or, you know, the modern world would call it sort of narcissism, you know, self-obsession in order to preserve yourself, because if you think too much about it, you'll never sleep, because it's extremely stressful. And I think we all have to have, first of all, great respect for people who go and do that. But secondly, we have to wonder about what kind of person would want to do that anyway. Who wants to be a doctor? I mean, you might grow up thinking, I want to help people, but Jesus Christ, how many people die because doctors give them the wrong medicine? You know, there's hundreds of thousands of people a year die because the doctors give them the wrong medicine. That's wild. Now, hundreds of thousands of people are saved because the doctors give them the right medicine. It's the other side. You know, who wants to educate the world? Who wants to be a teacher? Who wants to correct everyone on a daily basis? Yeah. Who wants to police? Who wants to follow the rules of society? Yeah. Who wants to work with numbers all day? You know, 7, 6, 5, 4, 27, 32, 81, 64, 237, plus, minus, divided by, put this into this column. But you fucking go crazy. You know, after 10 minutes, you're crazy. After 10 years, you're not human. Um, you're just a machine. Um,